Hello, newsletter subscribers and followers. This is Ronnie Chima, culinary travel specialist and founder of Chima's Travel. I'm doing this video because I've had a whole bunch of travel revelations. The first revelation is this newsletter needs to be bi-weekly. Thing to do it monthly. But with work and travel, especially in 2019 when travel was at its highest and busiest, I couldn't find the time to really do a monthly newsletter. So that's why it was called the Not So Monthly newsletter, which pretty much came out every 2 to 3 months, something like that. There is a lot happening in the travel world, a lot of really great things. And in the last newsletter I sent out, the survey, you told me you want to hear more from me. You're definitely going to hear more from me. So it's going to happen anyway, but it's going to be bi-weekly because there's just so much information. And many of you even stated that you'd love to learn more about destinations. So that's it. That's what you're getting. A bi-weekly newsletter. And remember, newsletter subscribers, you are the first to find out anything that happens within Chima's Travel and within any information that I get in terms of travel. So as a boutique agency under a larger, really powerful host agency, I have a lot of insider information and access to a lot of what's happening around the world. I want to give you the most relevant and important information. The next travel revelation was a really big one, and it actually happened during the Elevate the Journey travel show. The vibe of the show was really high energy and positive because whether whatever your political beliefs is, when it comes to the Donald Trump administration, they made it really difficult for the world to connect in terms of travel, whether you were coming in or going out. With the Biden and Harris administration, the travel industry actually sees how for countries to open up to Americans more in 2021. Biggest thing that I found out through the event was the news of the potential vaccine. What we have to remember is not everyone like me and you are going to get the first of the vaccine. I've been talking to a lot of, like I said, the preferred partners, but also my followers and you guys through this survey. You're ready to start traveling. You want to start traveling, but you have a lot of fear. And it's completely understandable. But while I was talking to a preferred partner who plans adventures to Costa Rica, Guatemala, and Belize, and I have a friend who's a DMC in Nicaragua, though maybe the government, at least Nicaragua, they couldn't get it together with COVID-19 protocols, the people did. And I started thinking, if someone is willing and open to fly from New York to California and go to Napa, visit wineries, of course, it's all social distance. A lot of the hotels I do book, they're running at either 50% occupancy or 75. No one is doing 100 occupancy unless their property is meant to, the original concept was to do social distancing. But if you're willing to do that, then it's just as safe for you to fly from New York to Costa Rica, for you to fly from New York to Egypt or Kenya, places that are open to Americans, which actually have really low tourism and no crowds. And I'm obsessed. I actually really want to go to Egypt and I'm working on that. But if you're willing to still get on a plane and go somewhere, then flying domestically, how do I say this? Okay, so air travel is safe, especially if you're flying with those who have really locked in the really higher, not Spirit, like Stop with Spirit, Frontier. JetBlue is doing a pretty great job. American, United, but Delta is doing a phenomenal job. If you're comfortable, if you're nervous about flying, in all honesty, the only thing you have to worry about are actually people. Airlines have taken the cleanliness and the filtration system to another level. I've had people who have been traveling, whether they're the rep for an airline, the vice president of our air department, my own clients, and other travelers and other travel agents, that their biggest annoyance was just human beings in general. So when the airline calls somebody to come up, and they're like, we're doing it row by row, we're making sure we start from the back to the front, people still clamor. They still clamor at the gate. And as soon as you're up in the air, I've been told no one's really using the bathroom. No one's getting up to move around. Everyone is still, and it's cool and calm. But when you land, the same thing of people just standing up and heading to the front of the plane. And that's why I book all my clients in the back of the plane, like the last available possible seat, all the way in the back, by the window, especially on Delta, because they have blocked the middle seat, so that nobody has to interact with that mess. All everyone needs to know is if you're the last person on the plane, that's totally fine. If you're the last person off of the plane, it's totally fine. But it's just those things that you have to be aware of. And a lot of the airlines are really diligent with asking people to fix and wear their mask. If anyone becomes belligerent on the planes have been known to land, especially Delta, or turn back around and kick people off and put those people on a no-fly list. So basically what I'm getting at is if you're open to flying, and even before getting on the plane, there's so many protocols, there's so many things, but it's always up to the individual. What we have to remember, if we decide whether, should I travel domestic, should I go internationally, that the United States is out of control in terms of our numbers. Our government's not really doing anything. There's a whole slew of people who think they're doing their best, but they're really not. It turns out they're not wearing the appropriate mask. They're not wearing it the right way. I've even witnessed in some restaurants, the manager themselves handling food with their nose hanging out. But when I hear that other countries, the people themselves are doing the work when the government has no idea what they're doing, that it's the people. The people are doing a phenomenal job. So with that said, always at the end of the day, going to be about how comfortable you feel with travel. If you want to travel, but you're terrified and you're forcing yourself to travel, terrible idea. Don't do that. You have to genuinely feel comfortable, safe, and believe in your travel agent, believe in the airline, and believe that people have your best interest in mind. And as long as you're taking care of yourself, I can't see any reason why you wouldn't travel. That's if you truly desired to. I forgot to say the other optimistic part is Common Pass. I'm not sure if you've heard of Common Pass. They're doing a trial run, but basically with people traveling or attempting to travel, especially for business, there's a lot of forged documents that are in another language, and making it difficult for people to be approved to come in, and also people coming into a destination, sneaking in, like in New Zealand, that happened a couple of months ago. They came in through Australia, and they had forged documents. With Common Pass, it's an addition to the health app on the Android and the iPhone. And it's already been tested with flights between JFK, New York, and Heathrow in London. My host agency has actually been a really, really big part of the project. Fund it, talked to our Senate and Congress, and what ended up happening was some education about travel ended up happening within the Senate. Things that a lot of senators didn't know about travel, what's going on. So the reason why it's also New York and London is because those are the two destinations a majority of business owners, travelers, politicians, they all want that to open up most of all. So that's where they're testing it out, and it's been successful so far. With 2021, we have the Olympics in Japan, We have the World Expo in Dubai. And the fact that Americans travel the most and spend the most money, more money than anyone else in the world, countries need that revenue. They want Americans to travel. And I do see in 2021 the Common Pass helping, the Biden Harris administration being part of that. And of course, this vaccine that is in the works that seems to be extremely promising. That's it. Those are my revelations from this last week. Travel revelations and also just a newsletter and connecting with you more. That's what I'm looking to do. This feels so one way, me emailing you and talking to you. I'd love to have a back and forth. I'll have more surveys. I genuinely want to hear from you what you're looking for in terms of the newsletter, in terms of Chima's travel, in terms of travel in general. And I look forward to sending you to magical places in 2021.